Can buy-to-let properties realistically replace your job income in 5 years' time? Is it difficult? How doable it is and why isn't everybody doing it? Stay till the end and you'll see that it may actually be easier than you think. I've been investing in property for 6 years now. Has it worked for me? Let's jump in and see. What is a buy-to-let? That's a property that you buy for the sole purpose to rent out to other people, not to live in it. It usually requires a higher deposit, most cases 25%. Pros of owning a buy-to-let. First and obvious one is the rental income. If bought right, that's just a cherry on top, trust me. The second one is the capital appreciation, which in some cases could outperform the rental income by a mile, depending on the area you buy in and the type of property that you buy in. Third is leverage. Being able to control 100% of the asset with just 25% of your own money amplifies your returns in times when property prices go up. And as we're gonna see, this is most of the years in the UK anyway. Some honorable mentions as well are there's a diversification, the asset is tangible, everybody needs a place to live in anyway, and this business is scalable. As with everything, there are obviously risks involved. So to start in property, you usually need a higher upfront cost. Your capital is tied up, not like in the stock market you can sell at any given point. Your money is locked in the property, and usually when you're selling, the process is quite lengthy, which actually could be a good thing sometimes, because as you know, people do tend to panic in uncertain times and sell when they're not supposed to. Tenants may not be paying the rent, that's one of the risks as well. And repairs or maintenance sometimes could be costly, depending on the property and what work needs to be done. But can it actually replace your job income? Let's have a look. We're gonna make an assumption, and it's a big one. Let's say you've saved up for the first property, you've saved your deposit. You've been saving hard for the last 2 years. You took some overtime, you sold some items around the house, you flipped some items on eBay, you did some crypto schemes, you're there. Okay, maybe without the crypto schemes. Now that you know that you want to buy a property, the finding the area is the next key step. Ideally, the area you want to invest in has to have some, if not most, of the following qualities. Has to have a good rental demand, lots of jobs for people, transport link, hospitals, shops, some entertainment, ideally a good football club as well. Not necessarily though. Now that you got the area, let's buy something. Ideally, your first one has to be what property investors call a vanilla buy-to-let. This is a very straightforward investment, usually a flat or a 2 or 3 bed house for a single tenant or a small family, bought with a standard mortgage and a very low involvement from your part. So this 2-bed flat in Manchester M9 could be nice. There's good condition, there's parking, there's even a tenant in situ, which means immediate income. So it's listed at 110,000. We should always try to get a discount. So let's say you get it for 100,000. 25% down is 25,000. Stamp duty for this one is going to be 5,000. Solicitor fees around 1,500. So total you need 32,000 pounds. That's a lot of money, I know, but you hate your job and you want to quit as soon as you can. Mortgage for a buy-to-let is typically interest only, which means you pay only the interest and then the principal you have to pay at the end of the term. For example, in 25 years, you still have the full 100,000 that you need to pay off. In this case, it will be 75,000 because you already put 25,000 down. For some people, this could be scary, but trust me, inflation is going to take care of this. Imagine 75,000 today and 75,000 in 25 years' time. This is going to be probably a year's salary, if not less. So numbers for this property, on a 75,000 pound mortgage, interest at the moment is around 4 to 5%, meaning your mortgage payment will be 281 pounds. This property has also a service charge of around 110 per month. Since our property seems in a really good condition, we put it up for rent for 950. And we're gonna put £50 for maintenance per month, just in case, because things do go wrong. There's a broken tap, there's a clogged toilet, it happens. We've been there. So in theory, this property can generate you about £500 per month in profit, which is great. If you want it to take even less of your time, you can give it to an agency and they can look after it, they can manage it. That's going to cost you about 10 to 12% of the rent, depending on the area. It costs me about 10% of my rent. So in this case, for £950 rent, it's going to cost you 95 to 110 quid per month, which is going to reduce your monthly profit to about £400. On average, property in Manchester M9 appreciate about 5.6% or 3% in real terms, adjusted for inflation. That's where leverage comes into play. Because although you put only 25% down, you're going to get the appreciation of 3% on the whole asset of 100,000, which is going to be 3,000 in this case. If you put 32,000 down for this property, and it appreciates by 3,000 per year, that's already 10% return on investment just based on capital appreciation. We cannot rely on capital appreciation because prices do go up and down. You can't realize that gain. It's a good bonus. Now you bought this one, what do you do next? Save up for the next one. Lots of beans on toast, lots of oatmeals at home, a lot of Netflix nights, and brewing your coffee at home. That should be your goal. However, now with the additional income from this property, you're able to save quicker for your next property. You're more motivated and the plan is in motion. 18 months later, you're able to buy another one as you're some sort of a local expert now. Now that you have 2 buy-to-let properties, you're in the top 50% of landlords in the UK. As 46% of the landlords own only one property. But you're not done yet. You're a machine. Snowball is rolling. You're generating income from your 2 rental properties. With the income from the 2 properties now, you only need 14 months to buy another one. Now with 3 buy-to-lets to your name, you're unstoppable. 12 months later, you buy another one. At this point, you're 3.5 years into your property buying journey. You own 4 properties that generate you about £1,500 to £1,800 a month in the rental income. Now for the last 18 months, you save up hard, collecting that rental income to be able to deploy it for another 2 properties at the end of the 5 years. You're in the top 17% of the UK landlords, and thanks to leverage, your assets value is 4 times more than the money you put in. In this case, if we take an average of 100 to 120,000 per property, owning 6 equals around £600,000 worth of property that appreciates at around 3% per year, which is £18,000 appreciation per year. Now for the results, you made it. Congratulations. With some hard work, lots of property viewings, lots of phone calls, financial sacrifices, research and due diligence on your part, you have successfully acquired 6 rental properties over the last 5 years that generate you around £2,500 per month, which is enough to replace the average salary in the UK. Now it's up to you if you want to continue investing, potentially get onto some bigger projects with higher risk and higher reward, quit your job and go travel for 6 months, reduce your working hours, or start the business that you've dreamed for. The rental income that you're generating is giving you a safety blanket to make errors. The capital appreciation is doing its magic in the background, and you're now financially independent, which for me is worth more than eating beans on toast for 3 years straight. But it's up to you. You can now quit your job without worrying about the bills from only 5 years of work. If you actually put things into perspective, that's what people are actually working for their entire lives. For 30, 40 years, people are working for financial independence. And then they get it at the end of their lifetimes, where in some cases it's already too late to enjoy it then. Things do get in the way, of course. A medical emergency set you back financially, the holiday you always dreamed about, or starting a family. The important thing is, however, to be consistent, follow a plan and trust the process. Even if it doesn't happen in 5 years, but in 7, 8 or even 10, for me that's still better than the traditional plan, work until you're 65, 67, at a job that you may not necessarily like in the first place. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you going to buy property in 2025? I'll see you in the next one.